On June 12, 2026, SpaceX went public, and 10 of the biggest investment banks on Wall Street were standing behind the deal. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JPMorgan, Bank of America, and 6 other major banks. The IPO initially raised about $75 billion. Then the underwriters exercised the full over-allotment option. Final total? About $85.7 billion, the largest IPO ever by proceeds. But here's the part that most people don't understand. These banks weren't making money because they somehow knew SpaceX stock would explode. They were being paid to do something much more boring and much more valuable. Get billions of dollars from a company into the hands of investors, and that's the secret to how investment banks make billions. It's not mostly guys screaming, buy, buy, buy. It's a financial machine built around 4 businesses. Let's break it down. First, M&A. When one company wants to buy another, the investment bank becomes the deal maker. It helps value the target, structures the transaction, negotiates terms, finds financing, and helps get the deal across the finish line. And the fees can be enormous. Imagine a company buying another business for $10 billion. Even a fee of 0.75% would be $75 million. That's more than 1,000 years of income at $60,000 a year from one transaction. And this is where relationships become incredibly valuable. A CEO isn't handing a $10 billion acquisition to a random bank they found online. They're calling bankers they've trusted for years, and Goldman Sachs has built one of the deepest M&A franchises on Wall Street. In 2025, Goldman ranked #1 globally in announced and completed M&A, advising on roughly $1.48 trillion of deals. But M&A is only one piece of the machine. The second is underwriting. And this brings us back to SpaceX. When a company wants to raise billions through an IPO or a bond offering, it needs more than an advisor. It needs banks that can distribute those securities to investors. In a firm commitment underwriting, banks agree to purchase securities from the issuer for distribution. That means the banks take on real execution and inventory and market risk while getting those securities into the hands of investors. They're not simply gambling on the stock. They're providing the bridge between the company raising capital and the investors supplying it. And they get paid for that service. In the SpaceX IPO, the syndicate ultimately collected roughly $500 million in fees, according to reporting from the Financial Times. That's the business. Not predicting the future. Moving enormous amounts of capital. The third engine is trading and market making. Think about an airport currency booth. The booth doesn't need to know whether the dollar will rise tomorrow. It just needs to be ready to buy from one customer and sell to another. The difference between those prices is part of how it gets paid. Investment banks do something vastly more sophisticated at enormous scale. When a pension fund, asset manager, or corporation needs to move hundreds of millions of dollars of securities, someone has to provide liquidity, find counterparties, manage the risk, and execute the trade without completely disrupting the market. That's where the trading operation comes in. And the scale is enormous. Goldman's entire global banking and markets division generated nearly $35 billion in net revenue in 2024. That included investment banking, equities, fixed income, commodities, financing, and other market activities. And then there's the fourth engine, the quiet one, asset and wealth management. This is different from M&A. An M&A fee is usually tied to a transaction. Once the deal closes, you're back looking for the next deal. Asset and wealth management can create recurring revenue. A client gives the firm capital to manage or advises with the firm on how to allocate it. The firm can earn management, advisory, private banking, lending, and other fees over time. And that recurring relationship can last for decades. Goldman's asset and wealth management business generated about $16.1 billion in revenue in 2024. Its assets under supervision reached roughly $3.14 trillion. And now we get to the real question. Why can't a startup just build an app, charge less, and take this business away? Because the real product isn't an app, it's access. 4 things create the moat: relationships, distribution, balance sheet, and trust. Relationships mean knowing the CEO before the billion-dollar deal even exists. Distribution means knowing the institutions capable of writing billion-dollar checks. Balance sheet means having the financial capacity to support enormous transactions and absorb risk. And trust might be the biggest one. Because when you're handling billions of dollars, clients aren't looking for the cheapest app. They're looking for someone who won't screw up. And that's why investment banking is so difficult to disrupt. The banks aren't just selling advice, they're selling access to capital, access to investors, access to liquidity, and access to a network built over decades. So the next time you watch The Wolf of Wall Street and picture Wall Street as a room full of traders screaming at screens, remember, that's only one small part of the machine. An investment bank can advise a company buying another company, help a business raise billions, provide liquidity to institutions, and manage trillions of dollars for clients, and the most valuable thing it owns isn't a trading algorithm. It's something much harder to build. Trust. That's how investment banks make billions. Not by predicting every move in the market, but by sitting in the middle of the world's biggest financial transactions and getting paid every time capital moves. If you want more videos explaining how the financial system actually works, like without the Wall Street mythology, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.